What's going on, everyone? So I really wanted to record this really quickly because I wanted to record this based off of, just to add on to the PowerPoint I did a couple of weeks ago. I want to say the one on mechanical edge engineering, just how to find your edge in the market. And basically, I remember I seen a comment just basically saying, is there a way we can, positively be profitable with discretionary or mechanical trading style after swap fees and commission? And I just want to answer that absolutely yes, simply because the whole process of mechanical edge engineering is just simply to build experience in the market, and over time the experience you gain will turn into mechanical edge rules. For example, I trade the Fibonacci, right? And when I started off mechanically edge engineering, I started off with entering right here, putting stops right here, and putting take profits right here. And then over time, when gaining experience, taking more and more trades, I've noticed that every time it hits the 79% level, it goes 90% of the times to my SL. So that was a distinction I made, a discretionary decision I made on trading to basically just close my trades early right here on the 79% level. Even if it turned around and hit take profits, I understand based on my experience, the more times it hits the 79% level is more likely to hit SL than to hit take profit. So I just close trades early here, and instead of losing whole percent, I'll only lose 0.5%. That's an example of turning your discretionary trading into a mechanical edge or a mechanical rule. So you can still trade mechanically with discretionary trading, or really what discretionary trading is, if we would just really simply break it down, is you making decisions based off of experience in the market. That's all it really is, right? So if we look at it, you can turn the experience that you have gained from back testing into mechanical rules that put the balls in your favor, or put the edge in your favor, or put the odds in your favor, right? That's just simply what it is. So how to start mechanical edge engineering, I recommend you get two things. Get FX Replay. They have a 5-day free trial. You can sign up with email and go ahead and just try it out for 5 days. In 5 days, you should be able to at least get 100 back tested trades, depending on what your trading style is. If you're a swing trader, obviously this isn't going to be too feasible, but you get yourself an FX Replay tool, and then get yourself a trading journal. So you can use one that's made for you. For example, you can use one like Edgewonk, right? Or you can use one like on Notion template guys. But really, the main thing with your edge, all you really need to do is you just need to be able to get the result of the trade, a screenshot of the trade. With your journal, my bad. With your journal, all you really need to do is just get the time sessions, the session it was took, the result of the trade, right? And the screenshot as well too, and the pair. That's really all you need to kind of keep track of while mechanically edge engineering. And FX Replay does have this cool feature where they also have analytics, so you can see how well you're doing, right? So for example, on this, I can see how well I'm doing right here. Cool. I can see that out of 13 trades, whatever, I can see the win rate, I can see the results, I can see how I've been kind of scaling the account or whatever, and see how that certain variable works. Same thing with this one. You can, it keeps track of everything. So 20 trades, you're able to keep track, take a look, see how you're doing, all that nonsense, and you have all the analytics and stuff like that as well too. So now, how to actually start. Now here's the thing. You want to make it as simple as possible for you to get started building your edge, right? So I recommend one concept. This is something I'm going to stick by heavily. One concept, one pair, one time frame, one risk percentage, and a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, or a static risk percentage and static risk to reward ratio. So for example, one concept, it could be any concept. I find that the simpler the concept is, the simpler, the easier it is to execute. So I have a concept that probably just has one confluence. So support and resistance with bullish engulfing on support and resistance zone. But the bullish engulfing is bullish or bearish engulfing is your one and only confluence. You don't need to have 2 or 3 just to start. Just have one confluence with one concept. For example, support and resistance, supply and demand, Fibonacci, ICT, whatever you trade. Just make it very simple. cut down on all the confluences and just bring it down to one or no confluences at all, right? And this is just to get started. This isn't going to be a strategy forever, but this is just to get started. So for example, let's say I choose support and resistance. I'm gonna do SNR, and then I'll do SNR with engulfing, right? So that's my concept. You pick your one concept. Next thing, you pick one time frame. Eliminate top-down analysis when trying to do your mechanical edge engineering. You don't need it for right now. As you go on more and more, you can add top-down analysis if you want, but this is just to start. And I want to say this. I want to first get this out the way. For the traders that's watching this, thinking this is going to be easy, it's not. It's not going to be easy. But I can guarantee you one thing. I've been doing this for 2 months straight. I have never been more confident, never been more certain in thinking in probabilities, and I have never, and I mean never, cold-heartedly accepted the belief that the market is uncertain. This has shown me, just going through this process has taught me so much in trading, and it's something I wish I started when I first started trading, because I honestly believe I could have cut down my learning curve in almost 95%. So this is not going to be easy. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take dedication. But this is what hard feels like. We all know trading is hard. Right? It's an easy way to make a hard. It's a hard way to make easy living, right? But at the end of the day, if you want to be successful in this field, you must do what's required, and this is required. Finding an edge is required. It's not all about psychology. It's also about finding an edge as well too. So going back to my main topic, you want to pick one concept, make it super simple, something that you can execute, you can easily spot, right? Second, you want to pick one pair, right? So one pair, one asset class. You don't want to trade multiple asset class. You don't want to trade indices and Forex and crypto. No, just one asset class, whether that be Euro USD, whether that be Forex, indices, NAS 100, Euro USD, US 30, whatever. Just pick one, the one that you're most comfortable with, right? And then you're going to pick one time frame. So like I said previously, eliminate all the top-down analysis. Like just eliminate it. Stick with one time frame. And as you grow, you can gain experience, and you can then choose to add top-down analysis from what time frames, and then you can test out what time frame works better and all that. Right? But you are building your edge right here. You are building your strategy. And once you get done with this process, you're going to come out this not only with the benefit of thinking, learning how to think in probabilities, which is literally the key for psychology and success in trading, but also you're going to come out of it with a strategy back tested by data, bulletproofed, proven by data. That's one of the highest confidence ROI you can have. In trading especially, right? So now you got that, right? So now you're pretty much asking, what about risk management, trade management? No trade management. You're going to take a set and forget type of ideal here. So you're going to let the market let you know if you're right or wrong. Or should I so-called change the words from right or wrong? Those are not the words to use. You're going to let the market dictate where it's going to go. You're going to let the market play out. You're not going to try and control the market by moving your SL to break even thinking, yeah, I got you now. No, you're not going to do none of that, man. You're just going to place your trade and you're going to walk away. You're going to place your trade and you're going to step away from the mouse. You're going to place your trade and you're going to throw your mouse across country. And you're just going to let the trade do what it do, right? But in here, you get to do it a little bit faster than demo testing and paper testing, right? That's the perks of this. So no trade management. Now risk management, right? Simple. Risk one certain risk per trade. Whether that be 0.5, 1%, 2%, whatever is comfortable with you, risk 1% every trade. Risk the same, not 1%, I'm sorry, risk the same percent every trade, right? And then for TP and SL management, right? So where do I place my TP and SL? So that's just based off your strategy, right? So if you're support and resistance, I'm gonna place it below support and above resistance, right? Just that simple. But then, wherever you want to place your SL and TP, just place it there, and you can change it as you go along. So if you want to start off by placing your SL under support and above resistance, and then as you go along, you change it to maybe a certain market structure level or whatever, you can do that. But for now, start off with something simple, and your risk to reward ratio, just let it be a 1-to-1 RR. Just that simple. 1-to-1 RR. Just that simple. So once you get started with this, right, the goal is to trade in hundreds, right? It's just that simple. The goal is to trade in hundreds. So you want to get at least 100 back-tested trades per week. Now, does that mean this one strategy right here has to be 100 back-tested? No. So for every testing size, you want a minimum sample size of 20 trades. Minimum 20 trades before you even start looking at results and comparing data and stuff like that. But every week you want to get 100 back tested trades. So minimum sample size is 20, right? And then you want to have minimum 100 back tested trades per week. So this means you're going to conduct 5 tests. You're going to conduct 5 experiments every week, and you're going to get back the data. The goal is just don't care about the profit loss ratio. Don't care about the P&L. The goal is just to simply get to that 20 trade mark. That's it. You don't care about it, right? So on this account, right, I'm negative 4%. But I don't care, because my process is to see, and this was trading support and resistance, right? Something that I don't normally trade. But my process is to simply see what are the results. So on a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, right, placing support and resistance wherever I wanted to, I ended up with a negative 4%, negative 5% loss, right? Okay, cool. Now that I know that, right, now what's the next thing to do? Right. The next thing is I tweak something in my strategy. I don't change my whole concept. I tweak something. So what are the variables you can tweak once you get done with testing? If you don't like your results, you can switch a variable. Now, what are some of the variables you can tweak? The first thing is, what do you define as a trade? Trade criteria. Trade criteria. Right. It's just that simple. So for me, I'm going to bring this back to something I have a little bit more knowledge on, Fibonacci. I define clear trade criteria as a clear low and a clear high. Simple. That's just it for me, right? I need a clear low and I need a clear high. That's what defines a trade criteria for me. That's when a idea pops up. But that idea doesn't actually become a concept until I get a second variable, right? All right, so you have your trade criteria. That's one thing you can change. You can also change your entry criteria. So next you got entry criteria, right? So entry criteria is just as simple as it sounds. Just simply like, what do you define as your entry, right? So for example, for me in this case, I only look for dojis and I only look for pin bars and bullish engulfings. So this trade, right, even though my trade criteria is here, my entry criteria isn't present yet until where? Right here. Boom. As soon as it's present here, I'm taking my trade right after it. Boom. Right. Put my SL below here. I'm gonna take profit right here, and bam, I let the trade play out, right? But you have your entry criteria. That's one thing you could change, and then you can change your trade criteria. What do you define as a setup? And then what do you define as an entry? Trade criteria is what do you define as a setup. Entry is what do you define as a what do you define as an entry, right? The next thing you can change your risk to reward ratio. So here's something cool I noticed. You have a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And here's the thing. 3-to-1 is your your risk reward ratio. It doesn't have to be, here's what I noticed, pretty cool. It doesn't have to be this. This is one way for 3-to-1, the way most people know of. This is another way for 3-to-1. What are you talking about? Simple. 4-to-1. But for me, based on this trade, it'll be a 4-to-1. But here, usually I enter over here. So enter here, you get a 3-to-1. Depending on your risk percentage or whatever. But anyway, if I have, what the hell? There we go. So here's a 5-to-1, simply because. But depending on where you close your trade is very important too. So if you cut your losses early, I cut my losses once it hits this level, but surprisingly, this level is, well, 50% of my SL, which means that even in normal circumstances, let's see if I get an entry up here. Even in normal circumstances, it's still a almost 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. So with the risk to reward ratio, right? Something you're going to notice is that 3-to-1 is going to be around that 30% win rate. So your win rate is going to be around 30% with 3-to-1. Whether you're cutting your losses early or you're letting it run straight to SL or straight to TP, right? 2-to-1 is going to be around 40 and 1-to-1 is going to be around 50, right? Simply put, 2-to-1 is going to be around 4, 1-to-1 is going to be around 51% ratio, right? Anything above the 1-to-3 risk reward ratio is going to be in the low 20s. So now that you have that clearly stated. Next thing you change is your risk to reward ratio. Simple. Next thing you can also change is your trade management. So with trade management, this is just pretty simple. Are you adding on entries? Are you taking partial, moving SL to break even? That kind of things. Those are another variables you can change. And then the next thing you can change, but I've noticed that hasn't had too much outpack or impact, is either time frames. Pretty simple. You can add an extra time frame for extra confluence, or asset class. So you can add an extra pair, extra asset. I've noticed that adding extra pairs doesn't really change my win rate too much, but to each his own, right? So yeah, these are the things you can change. Notice how none of these things are changing your full strategy. You only change one of these variables. So if you change your trade criteria, you're still trading support and resistance, but change what you define as support and resistance. Maybe instead of 2 touches of price action, let's do 3 rejections. You get what I'm saying? That's changing your trading criteria. So instead of changing your trading strategy, right? Changing your concept, because that's what we default to a lot. We change the concept. We go from support and resistance to supply and demand, and supply and demand to ICT, and ICT to Fibonacci, right? No, let's change a criteria, right? Let's change one of these variables. Changing one of these variables will give you different results, and you get to mix and match and play around and see what works and see what doesn't, right? But these are all the things you can change instead of changing your strategy, right? Very simple. And you can get different results. So this is what you're going to do every single time. You're going to identify your pattern, right? You're going to write it down on a checklist, right? You're going to identify your concept, identify what period trading, identify time frames. You're going to write everything out. You're going to plan everything out before you even start trading, because the goal is when you're trading, you shouldn't have to think. Once you see the setup, you just enter. You already have everything written out, planned out, and you just enter. That should be the goal. And then you just keep doing that. You do it for 20 trades. At the 20 trades, you take a look. You see what you see what to see. You see what you see. You take a look at the data. Right? Is the data, the analytics? Is it pleasing to you? Is it satisfying to you? Is it okay? This is good. If it is good, then you just take another 20 trades and you just practice with that edge right there. Boom! You found your profitable edge. This can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months. So it's up to you, right? But you find your edge. You say, okay, cool. I'm satisfied with this results. If you notice, every 20 trades I take, I net profit 4%. Okay, I'm glad with this. I'm good. Or if every 20 trades I take, I net profit 2%. Okay, I'm good with this. Boom, right? Or if you're satisfied with it, you can still improve it. Like, you can improve it, doesn't matter what the result is. So if you get a good result you're happy with, you can improve. You can try adding a new variable or getting rid of a variable that's causing you losing trades. And then you can see what the result is. And if you just don't like it, you just go back to what you previously was doing. It's just that simple. Now, let's say you get a result that you don't like. I'm not good with this. Like, for example, 20 trades took this, I'm down 5%. No good with me, right? Then you change a variable and you take another 20 trades. Then you take a look at the result, and then you change another variable, take another 20 trades. Then you take a look at the result, and you just keep going through this cycle until you find results that is pleasing to you. That was a mouthful, but this is truly going to help you. I don't want to string anything over 21 minutes, so I'm going to stop here. But I hope you guys gain any type of wisdom or anything like this. If you have questions, leave it in the comment section below, and I'm going to answer it immediately. And until next time, guys, take care.